Campagnolo, filling and bleeding the hydraulic disc brake system. In this video, we will see how to fill and bleed the oil after installing the hydraulic disc brake system. The process is the same if you need to bleed an already installed system. The images illustrating this procedure relate to bleeding the left side control and the front caliper, but they are also relevant for the right-hand control and the rear caliper, or if the brake lever and caliper positions are reversed. Assemble the Campagnolo bleed kit as follows. Fit the short tube with the M6 threaded connector onto the syringe with a hole. Fit the long tube with the M4 threaded connector onto the syringe with no hole. Pull on the brake lever and ensure that the free travel of the control is set to S. To fill the system with the right amount of oil, adjust the position of the brake levers so that they're both either as far as possible or as close as possible to the handlebar so that they feel the same when you pull them together at the end of the procedure. Remove the screw from the bleed valve. Fill the syringe without a hole and with the longer hose, M4 thread, to around 3/4 of its capacity with Campagnolo mineral oil and screw the syringe onto the bleed valve. The valve is currently closed. Open the valve by turning the nut on the valve itself anti-clockwise by approximately 1/4 turn. Do not undo it further as this can damage the O-ring inside the valve. Lift the hood and remove the bleed screws on the control. Draw back the piston of the syringe with the short hose, M6 thread, so that the piston is positioned above the lateral hole and attach it to the control. Push the plunger of the syringe connected to the caliper to expel all the air trapped in the system until the oil exiting from the control bleed valve has filled the top syringe by at least 50%. Ensure that the bottom syringe is not left without oil, so as to prevent air from entering the caliper. If the system is not new, push out the oil already in the system, remove the syringe, plug the hole on the syringe, and dispose of the used oil in accordance with local, regional, or national legislation. Then reconnect the syringe and refill with new oil. Slowly suck in oil with the syringe connected to the caliper, watching for air bubbles until the syringe is at least 50% full. Ensure that the top syringe is not left without oil so as to prevent air from entering the control. Repeat this pushing and sucking procedure until the oil contains no more air, 2 or 3 times. While pressing down on the syringe plunger, repeatedly pull the brake lever and release a few times in order to eliminate any trapped air in the control area in the master cylinder. While sucking with the syringe, pull the brake lever several times as if you were braking to expel any remaining air in the caliper. When all air has been expelled, ensure that the level of oil in the syringe is above 1 cm approximately and close the bleed valve by turning the wrench clockwise. Remove the syringe from the control, ensuring there is no oil leakage by sealing the hole on the side of the bleed syringe with 1 finger. Check that there is oil in the screw seat and tighten the bleed screw to the correct torque. Be careful. Do not exceed the specified torque, as this may damage the hydraulic system. Using alcohol, clean any leaked oil from the top of the control. Remove the oil between the valve and the syringe connection, sucking in with the syringe to prevent any remaining oil underneath the valve screw from leaking once this is in place in its seat. Remove the syringe from the caliper. Fit the bleed valve screw and tighten to the required torque. Tighten the bleed valve to the required torque. Using alcohol, clean any leaked oil from the caliper. Refit the wheel and align the caliper with the disc with the centering tool still in the caliper. This is to provisionally align the caliper with the disc. Unscrew the pad screw that holds the oil level tool in place and remove the oil level tool. Position the pads so that the metal support is in contact with the pistons. mount and tighten the pad screw. Position the securing pin on the screw. Pull the brake lever 2 or 3 times and align the caliper with the disc, keeping the brake lever pressed, and tighten the 2 caliper screws to the required torque. Hold the caliper so that it does not move. If the disc is not parallel to the caliper pads, you may need to machine the caliper contact surface using an appropriate tool.